I have a few things I want to talk to you about to give you some context. First of all, I am not a professional speaker. I am a businessman that likes to teach and tell stories. My kids and my wife are tired of them. You've never heard them. This is going to work really well. Second of all, I can assure you that I'm going to have fun. I actually cannot figure out any other way to operate because, in fact, life is way too short to do anything else. So I'm going to have fun. And third of all, I am a Hoosier. That has nothing to do with anything that's going to happen today, but I have the stage, and I wanted you to know that, okay? In fact, I was in the gym when Coach Bobby Knight threw the chair on February 23rd, 1985, and much to my wife's chagrin, that's one of the defining moments in my life. She says, "We got 3 kids." I said, "I know, but you should have seen that." Okay, enough of that. My premise that I want to talk to you about today is actually very simple. And you're going to remember this, please. Anyone can be a leader. It makes me crazy that leadership is too often defined by the job title and the org chart and the position. That's bunk. Stop that. Anybody can be a leader. In my mind, and in the book that I just published about 6 months ago, I talk about get real leadership, getting real. I talk about authenticity and the need for it. And I talk about leadership in 3 specific areas, and I'm going to share with you some of the stories that I have about those 3 areas, and they are leading and getting real with yourself, your people, and your business. And I contend if you do those 3 things and you truly get real in those areas, you're going to be a leader. It's about influence and impact. You can influence and impact from any spot in an org, in a job, in the world. Very cool. So let's start with the first one, which is leadership of yourself. And frankly, if you don't get beyond this one, there's no use trying for the other ones. If your actions don't match your words, if you don't get real with yourself, if your brand is not a good one, it's not going to work. I grew up at Procter & Gamble. I spent 7 years there. I worked on Crest, Pepto-Bismol, and Metamucil. Insert laugh here, I know. I was working down the body. Interesting thing about P&G, the company is very strong, but the company name is irrelevant. Every brand matters. Each brand evokes words and descriptions and emotions from people that buy them or use them or don't like them. I say today, you have a brand also. You may not have thought about it. Do it now. Think about it. I want you to think about that in a very specific way. What are the 7 words that you have that describe you? I love doing this. It started 15 years ago. It makes you flinch a little bit when you start trying to think of what your words are. What you need to do is figure that out. The first thing you need to do is write down the 7 that you believe define you. The second thing you need to do is you need to find out what the people that know you best, maybe they work with you, maybe they're your family, what they give you is your 7 words. And more importantly, you have to find it out anonymously. If you don't find it out anonymously and you ask your best friend what the 7 words that describe you, what's my brand, please? They're going to pat you on the head and say you have a great smile and you're really smart and I love you to be around you. No. I want to know what your 7 words are. Someone that hires you may want to know what your 7 words are. Somebody that wants to promote you. Doesn't matter to me. What are your 7 words? It's very cool. I will tell you, you need to find it out anonymously. You can go to my website, harryscampbell.com. It's free. There's a little tool. Click on it. It says my 7 words. Fill in some email addresses. It goes out anonymous to people, comes back, and then you get it. You can't attribute the words to anybody, and you find out what people think about you. The gap between the words that the world says of you and what you say of yourself is way more important than anything. Your self-awareness and your ability to figure out who you are is critical. What are your 7 words? And once you figure them out, you'll start to share them with people. Whenever I had my last job at Embark, I had, I think, 4,000 people in my group. And I got up in front of them and I shared with them my 7 words. There's 11 words that are used to describe me. There's only 7 I'm willing to say publicly. But you know what? I don't know what yours are. I want you to understand that getting real with yourself and really understanding that and figuring out what your 7 words are and what the gap between what the world thinks is critical. Let me tell you how I used that in my last job. I had big jobs that are going to report to me, and I wanted to figure out who to hire, and we would go through the normal process. And at the end of that process, I would have 2 great candidates, Bill and Susan. I found 5 people that knew both those folks very well. And at 8 o'clock at night, this is what I did. They were both internal folks. I called 5 people, and I said, here's the job that I'm hiring for. You know Bill well. Send me a voicemail with Bill's 7 words. And I always had to say, and I did the same thing for Susan, and I always had to say, by the way, I'm not looking for a phone call. I don't want sentences, and I don't want an email. I want 7 words. It is amazing what comes back. Here's what I'm going to ask of you. If you were going to be one of those 2 people and you were trying to get that job with me, who would I call? I'm finding out people that know you well. Who would I call? You don't get to tell me. Who would I call, and what would they say? I will give you a warning here. This is very important. The first time you do this, if you try it and you do it anonymously, it's not fun. You're going to find out 7 words, and if you're like everybody else, you're going to love 5 of them. You're going to completely disagree with 1, and you're going to try to find out the person that said it. There's no way. That is not me. And you're going to hate 1, even if it's true. It's kind of a wild concept. I love doing it. And in the interest of sharing, 3 of my words are, I am an optimistic son of a gun. I'm a Cubs fan. We had a bad century. I'm telling you. We dominated baseball in 1906, 7, and 8, and we're coming back, and we're optimistic. I'm an optimistic son of a gun. That's one of my words, okay? Another one is I'm tenacious. I wanted to be a professional sports athlete. By the time I was 6, it was clear that wasn't going to happen. So what did I do? I became a long-distance runner. I'm no Olympian. I didn't get a Division I scholarship, but I ran at Vanderbilt, and I ran pretty darn well because one of the most important traits of long-distance running is you gotta hate to lose. Wasn't a whole lot of skill involved. Guts and tenaciousness. I'm tenacious. And I'm also impatient. I grew up in a town of 1,200 people in southern Indiana. Did I tell you I'm a Hoosier? There's one stoplight in my hometown. It's at Main and Main Cross, and it was optional. I don't do lines. 3 people's a line, I don't do it. Absolutely, positively. That's me. I'm not proud of that. It's my brand. That's what people said about me. I want you to understand that. Getting real with yourself, leading yourself, is the foundation of this for leadership. Second one is getting real with people. I'm going to implore upon you to not think about this and worry about it in terms of people that work for you. In fact, getting real with people beside you and even managing the boss or somebody above you is just as important. And the best way to do that is to figure out a way to connect and communicate with these folks. When I took my job at Embark, it turned out we had 2,000 people that were on the phone in call centers taking care of customers. And we had a great rule. They said, if you're not in your seat by 8:05, you are tardy. And if you get 3 tardies, you get an occurrence, an absence, and 3 absences, and you lose your job. And I said, well, that's kind of harsh. These people are driving 40 minutes. They could have daycare issues. They could have car trouble. And we're dinging them for 5 minutes. I said, let's change the rule. The new rule is give us 8. Between 7:30 and 8:30, in that hour, if you come in early, you can leave early. Come in late, you can leave late. Just get within that hour. When we announced it to the organization, the whole place went freaking crazy. You thought we doubled their pay because we were treating them like adults. And they loved it. And the cool part about it is if there was a little bit of a cheater in the group, and there's cheaters everywhere, I'm sorry to say, and someone liked to come in late and leave early, you know what happened? The rest of the people in the call center would go over to him and say, excuse me, we love the new system. You're messing it up. If we have to go back to the old one, we're going to hurt you. We want this to stay in place. Think about that in terms of connecting with people. Treat them like adults. Treat them with respect. Your goal with folks like that is to have them focus on the competition and care about winning instead of worrying about all the internal things that happen because we're human. Communicate, too. Oh, my gosh, I was a president, and there was a peer of mine that was on stage, and someone asked the question. 3 minutes later, in 73 5-syllable words, I have no idea what he even said. Just answer the question. Yes, no, probably not, but here's why. Stop with the rest of the mess. It doesn't matter whether you're an IT manager, whether you run a call center, whether you're at a company, or you're an individual contributor. I don't care. Answer the question and communicate with people. That has to do with getting real with people. It'll build your bank account in a way that's just absolutely beautiful. Another one, by the way, is you got to cover for them. Occasionally, people make mistakes, and you need to cover for them. You need to figure out what that looks like in public and in private and how you handle that well. If you're going to get real with people, you have to do that. So we've talked about yourself and your people, the top one. One of the easiest ones to talk about is getting real with your business. You know what? Once again, I don't care what your job is. Here's what I say to this one: do your job well. Someone has asked you to do it. Stop spending 30 minutes a day figuring out when your next promotion is and when your next raise is. Do your darn job today well. Put your head down and do it. Someone needs you to do it. And if you're going to really get real, you can quit worrying about the other stuff and do your job. It is amazing how that works. It's a simple concept. The second one is compete. Oh, I love to compete. I hate to lose. I hate it. I time myself to work every day. I could go 5 miles over the speed limit. All other bets are off. The horn was free rein. And I time myself every day, and I get in front of my organization every 3 months and say, my latest and best record is 9 minutes and 12 seconds, and they give me a standing ovation. Because if I ever broke my record and I got to the parking lot at work, I'd get out and I'd go, yes, it's going to be a great day. I'd spike my briefcase. I'd say, I win. Life is not spring training. That's what I tell my kids. It's not spring training. Compete. Care. Try to win appropriately. Care, care, care. So step up, do your job, and care. Okay, the third one has to do with change. I am telling you, if you don't think about change and be curious about what your business or your job or your org or your people that are surrounding you need to do differently, you are not doing your job, because standing still is losing. Everybody else is trying to go by you. They're trying to smoke you. And if you do that well, you will win. It's extraordinarily important to be the person that embraces change, sees change, but you can't stop there. You have to go one step further. You got to be the person that drives it, drives it, drives it. So from a pyramid standpoint, the foundation of getting real and being a leader and maximizing your influence and impact is getting real with yourself and has you with your personal brand. I hope at least one person, if not every one of you, tries to figure out what your 7 words are, because that may matter sometime when you're in an interview and you say, hey, you know what? Here's who I am. This defines me. I am unique. Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi are not the same product. You are not the same as someone else. Figure it out. Get real with yourself. You get real with your people, and it has to do with connecting and communicating. Dropping the barriers, lowering the anxiety, trying to figure out how you can make the energy go outward, not yakking around internally, which is what happens in a lot of places. Okay? And then finally, with your business, do your job. Do your job. If you do that, amazing things can happen. I am so impressed by this organization, the people that came here, the support groups you have, and the opportunity to do this, that it's really hard for me to describe. That this is a birthday I will never forget, so thank you very much.